They weren't great outlaws. They weren't masterminds, but they did something no one in America had ever dared to try before. In October of 1866, a group of brothers from a small Indiana town boarded a moving train and quietly changed American crime forever. This is the true, brutal, and forgotten story of the Reno Gang, the men behind the first train robbery in U.S. history, and the violent revenge that wiped them off the map. Before they became legends, the Reno brothers were just four troublemaking farm boys from Rockford, Indiana: Frank, John, Simeon, and William. During the Civil War, the brothers didn't fight on either side. Instead, they carved out a career in something else entirely: arson, burglary, and swindling. Simple crimes at first. After the war, America was rebuilding fast. Railroads were expanding. Cash shipments were moving across the country every night, and opportunity was everywhere. The brothers realized one thing: why rob merchants and travelers when you can rob a train? On the night of October 6, 1866, the Reno Gang made history. They boarded a Ohio and Mississippi Railroad train near Seymour, Indiana. No gunfights, no dynamite, no masks. They simply slipped into the express car, neutralized the guard, and broke open a safe. Inside was $16,000 in cash, about $300,000 today. Smooth, clean, efficient. The newspaper headlines the next morning were stunned. Nothing like this had ever happened in America. This wasn't a stagecoach. This was a moving fortress of steel and steam, and the Renos proved that it could be robbed. It was the start of something new, something dangerous, something that would soon spread across the West. Flush with money and fame, the Renos didn't lay low. They escalated. More train robberies, more safes cracked open, more bodies left behind. The gang grew, with a rotating crew of criminals from around the Midwest. The town of Seymour became their base, and everyone knew it. Railroad companies finally responded. They hired a new private force known for one thing: relentlessness. These were the Pinkerton detectives, and they were not the type you outran. For the first time, the Renos were being hunted by professionals. On May 22, 1868, Reno Gang pulled their fourth train robbery, the biggest one so far. 12 gang members boarded Jeffersonville, Madison, and Indianapolis Railroad train as it stopped at the station in Marshfield, Indiana. When the train pulled away from the station, they overpowered the engineer and disconnected the passenger cars. Next, outlaws broke into the express car, threw the messenger out of the train, broke open a safe, and took the biggest score yet, approximately $96,000. That robbery left entire country in shock after appearing in every major paper's heading. The beginning of the end for the gang was the robbery of another train on July 9th. Pinkertons had learned of the plan, and 10 agents were waiting aboard, ready to fight off the outlaws. When gang broke in, detectives opened fire, wounding 2 members of Reno Gang. Whole group fled the scene, leaving behind Volney Elliott, who later, in exchange for freedom, revealed the names of the rest of the outlaws. This led to the dismantling of the gang and the arrest of all of them one by one. As the Renos awaited trial in New Albany, Indiana, rumors began spreading. People were furious: railroad workers, local businessmen, victims of extortion, even regular townsfolk. They believed the Reno Gang had evaded justice for too long. On the night of December 11th, 1868, a mob of masked men stormed the jail. No one stopped them. They dragged the Reno brothers out, one at a time, and hanged all 3 from the same beam. There was no trial, no judge, no jury. The Reno Gang, the first organized train robbers in America, ended with one of the largest vigilante lynchings in U.S. history. The Renos were far from the most skilled criminals. They weren't charming like Jesse James. They weren't tactical like Butch Cassidy. But they opened a door that led to decades of legendary Western outlaws, Men who would take their blueprint and turn train robbery into American mythology. The Reno Gang wasn't the greatest, but they were the first, and history never forgets the first. If you want more stories from the real Wild West, consider subscribing to Wild West Insight. Thanks for